So, welcome to this edition of the Authentic Leadership Roadshow. Are you a woman leader? Are you a future woman leader looking for role models, looking for authentic stories that resonate with you, that get you inspired and encouraged to take on, potential challenges or struggles? Then this is your place to be. The Authentic Leadership Roadshow is a series of interviews I have with amazing women that are sharing with you their authentic stories, their successes, but also their challenges. And I bring them to you, to this platform, so you can learn, so you can get inspired, so you can share. So just join us, be open, be curious, listen, and afterwards contribute, participate, share your own views and your comments so we can make this a story of all of us. My name is Helena Demuynck. I am a leadership coach for women executives. I support executives and entrepreneurs building confidence, resilience, grit, and strength. And I am super stoked to be here with Dion Johnson. Dion, welcome to this Authentic Leadership Roadshow. This is your edition, and I am so happy that you are here to share your story.
So excited about this conversation, Helena. It's been a long time coming, so I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So before we start, let me make like a short introduction about you. There's a lot to tell about you. People who want to find out more can, of course, go to your website, go to your LinkedIn profile. But let me give you like the formal standard introduction of Dion Johnson. She is an ex-midwife and director in public services, where she pioneered, coordinated, and led special services serving highly vulnerable and marginalized client groups. Dion is a multi-award-winning women champion with the re-empowerment of women at the heart of her work. She works behind the global leadership scenes as a master coach, a strategic ally, and a trusted advisor to some of the most influential women across sectors and industries. And today she's working with you directly and indirectly. She is challenging and changing the inner narrative about what it means to be a credible influencer in today's fast changing workspace. Her clients are chief executives, directors, and heads across sectors because when these women truly thrive and not just act like they are thriving, so do boards, organizations, industries, and ultimately our world. Diane was born with a pronounced facial disfigurement, and her story of unmasking is a powerful metaphor that is now captivating and inspiring leaders across the globe to show up, speak up, and shake things the hell up authentically within their sphere of influence too. You will see that she is passionate about and uniquely skilled to help women rise above professional challenges and be more influential in their roles. And her new book, Influential Women, A Fresh Approach to Inequality, is a must read. You will find all the information below here, this video. But let's give the floor to Dion. Welcome. You are an amazing woman and you are inspiring a lot of other amazing women. And today you are inspiring our audiences at the Women Executive Edge.
Oh, so good to be here, Helena. And honestly, when I hear that, obviously I know what the bio says, but when I hear it back, I get goosebumps because it's just been a heck of a journey to here, to a place where I know who I am and I know what I'm here for. And being here, having a conversation with you is just such an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. And that's why we are here to share your story, because your story will resonate with so many women that are not yet living their lives fully. And you are a woman with a mission. And if you would tell us your mission, like in 3 sentences, something bold and powerful, what would that be? Why are you here, dear?
I believe that boards and board level conversations can and do change our world. And so that it matters who is in that room having those conversations. And my vision is that every conversation at that level will have women there who are doing and have done the work to understand who they are, the power that they represent, the vision that they have in their heart, and a clear message that influences better outcomes from those conversations. So that's it. I want to change those forums by the presence of powerful, vocal, authentic women. And that's all of my work is around that. All of my work is around helping women to really own their authority and step into their power and express their true voice, find and express their true voice in conversations that are shaping our culture, in conversations that are deciding priorities, setting the agenda, making important decisions that affect people's lives. I want those conversations to be contributed by really powerful women, and that's my work.
Awesome. I'm addressing the audience right now. Can you hear how Dion has a vision, how she has a mission, and how this vision and mission empower her and her words and her actions and what she wants to bring to the world? And that is simply amazing. But we all have this vision and this mission inside of us. And the thing is, how do we bring that to the world? How do we find the narrative to tell ourselves what we are here for? How to bring our relevance and our legacy to the world? And Dion's story and Dion's being here right now is basically the result, and it's a never-ending path, but it's a result of her life encounters, of her life challenges. And Dion, we are so curious to hear about those. What is it that brought you to this empowering state and presence?
I like to say that I've been being prepared for this work from I was in my mother's womb, because when I was in my mother's womb, I wasn't developing conventionally. I was born with a pronounced facial disfigurement. So the lower half of my face was gaping and the top half of my head was asymmetrical. I'm blind in my left eye. I have a disfigured left eye. So there was quite a lot going on with my development in the womb, and I was born with this with a disfigurement that needed attention. So right from childhood, like babyhood, right into my early adulthood, I was engaged with a series of corrective surgeries. I really think that had something to do with why I went into healthcare. I spent a lot of time in hospital as a child, and my appearance was a thing for all of my life. My appearance was a big feature. So when I was 4 years old, as part of that corrective process, I was gifted with an artificial eye and dark glasses. Now, this artificial eye was this plastic shell, perspex shell, that was painted to look like this eye, and I would insert it to sit over my disfigured eye, so that it would try to match the two eyes. And then I would have these big dark glasses. They were very big and very dark, like sunglasses. So they fit over my face like this. And the whole point of those gifts, I called them gifts deliberately, because they were really given to me with all the best intention in the world. But the aim of them was to help me to hide my facial flaws. The aim of them was to help me to blend in and to look more like you, and to not stand out so much, to fit in better. And I know that was the case because I remember the day when I had my artificial eye fitted for the first time. Mr. Marmion, my surgeon, was behind me, and my mum was behind me on the other side. And the three of us peered into this mirror as I had this big thing sort of over my eye. And it felt like it felt like it was sticking out here, and it looked strange. But I remember his words. He said, "There you go, my darling. Now you're beautiful." And I remember looking in the mirror, not sure. I'm not sure. I know I want to be beautiful. Not sure if I'm beautiful yet, but I think, you know what? I think I look a bit more normal, and that I'll take it. I feel I look a bit more normal, and I'll take it. I remember having that thought. And I call that the beginning of my life behind the mask, because I don't think that we could have really understood back then. But the lesson that I was being taught, and that I subsequently internalized as I was growing up, was that if there's something different about you, if there's something that's not normal or doesn't look like everybody else's, then you need to hide that thing. You need to put it away. You need to get it away from view. You need to cover it up. You need to hide it. And I didn't know I was learning that lesson. But what happened as I carried on living my life from that day forward was that there were challenges. Life felt hard. I just felt like, you know, I went with my mask into everything. Like, very few people knew what I looked like without my facial mask on after that. And I went back to school the next day. You know, I was 4 years old, went into school the next day with my mask on, and all the stuff that brought in the playground. And then I went into the world of work and university and higher education, and all of life, intimate relationships. I went into hiding behind these masks, like facially hiding. And in 2009, a very important turning point year for me, I was now in my 40s. And after all of this time of unquestioningly hiding behind these masks, 2009 was a real wake-up year for me. You know, Obama, the black man, moved into the White House. Unusual times. Michael Jackson, the hero of entertainment, died that year. And everyone was talking about these great big superhero people: Obama, Hillary Clinton, Michael Jackson. And yet there was another conversation happening about recession. The UK went officially into recession that year. And there was a talk about the rest of us. There were these superhero people, and then there were these other people who were doomed because we were on the breadline and that we were going to perish because of this recession. And it really was a year for me to question, you know, like, where do I fit? Am I in this special group of superhero people, or am I in this other group of just doomed to the breadline? And I really struggled to place myself. On one hand, on one level, I knew myself to be powerful. I knew I was mighty. I knew that I was here to do something really powerful in the world. Even as a child, I had this sense that my life had meaning and purpose and power. But then there were all this other thinking about not quite meeting the mark, not quite able to access that power out in the world of work, in leadership, in life, in relationships, finding it really hard to access that power in relationships and in outside in the world. And so I really struggled with this. And my life felt like stuttering. It felt like, on one hand, there was Dion the high flyer, and then on the other hand, there was Dion struggling to get to grips with her powerful self. And it was like I had one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake simultaneously. Like, life was stuttering, relationships were stuttering. There was fallout of this incongruence, this cacophony, this double-mindedness was producing results in every relationship, and it was painful. And then right at the heart of that, in 2009, my aunt died. And I had this, as you know, one of those aunts who is like a mum. You know, her children were like my brothers and sisters. are like my brothers and sisters. And, you know, she was like my second mum. We were very close family. So her death was a huge loss to me. And I remember crying at her bedside and, you know, really getting into the throes of, you know, bringing people to mourn her death. She was a very popular lady. And I saw a friend of mine, an old friend that I hadn't seen for a long while since I was very young. And we were talking, but now she had a 10-year-old son. And as we were talking, this 10-year-old son was making funny noises. He was getting in the way of the conversation. And then she said, you know, stop it, boy. I'm trying to talk with Dion. And then he said, just out of the blue, he blurted it out. She's ugly. His words hit me. Bam, like right here in my heart. I could feel the weight of his words. She's ugly, Mum. And something really strange happened. I noticed that if you were in the room, you couldn't see what was going on the inside of me. You couldn't see just how much his words hurt me. Because outside, I held my composure. Outside, I looked like, you could wonder if I even heard him. And I saw that then. I saw myself do that. I saw myself hold myself steady whilst inside I was in pain. And I thought, how do I do that? The very next day, something else happened. I was standing in the foyer of my church. The very next day, some kids came up behind me, tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around, never seen them before. They pointed at my face. They laughed and ran off. I couldn't believe it. Like the very next day, it was like, bam, right there again. And Helena, long story short, every single day that week, something happened concerning my eye, concerning my face. Something hurt, bringing my attention to this facial disfigurement that had been an issue all of my life. And I just think it's so funny, isn't it? That when it's time for us to deal with something, when it's time for us to go through a growth spurt, when it's time for us to see something new about ourselves, isn't it just amazing the way that life just taps you on the shoulder and gets your attention? For many people watching this now, this will be your wake up. This will be your tap on the shoulder saying, hey, pay attention to this thing, pay attention to this thing. Well, that's what happened to me. I by Friday, the day of my aunt's funeral, I lost my dark glasses. Like somehow they just fell down the back of the radiator. I don't know how, but we searched high and low for those glasses. It was the day of the funeral and I saw myself like a fly on the wall. I saw myself panic. I can't go out there without my dark glasses on. I'm not going to my aunt's funeral. I don't have my cover, my mask. I can't go to and I got myself more and more in a twist. And I saw myself. I thought, why is this so important to you? I pondered it and went to the funeral and got through the day. But I noticed how when anybody looked in my direction, I could almost feel the discomfort of not having my dark glasses on. I could feel like I wanted to say, please don't look. So the pain was high on the inside. I got through my aunt's funeral, and the next day, when I got home, I was in Bristol, my hometown, and I took my artificial eye out when I got home, exhausted. I put it on the side. Usually, if I'm in a place with other people, I don't leave. I used to sleep with it in my bra, so that if anybody came in, I could quickly just get it in, so that nobody would see me. But this day I was exhausted. I put it on the side and my niece found my artificial eye on the dresser while I was sleeping. And it freaked her little 3-year-old mind out. She just could not understand why Auntie's eye was on the side. Like, why would Auntie's eye be on the side? Like, why? Well, what's in Auntie's eye then? Like, she just couldn't understand. So by the time I woke up, this little girl had cowered into her bedroom. She was rolled up in a ball. She was afraid of me. She didn't want me to touch her. She didn't want to look at me. And these tears were just rolling down her face. And just another thump in that heart space. I ran to a room, closed the door, put my hands up in the air like this and said, God, something is really hurting. Something is painful. I don't know what's going on. Like, why is this happening? What's going on? And I like to say I had a conversation with God that day, because these questions rose up on the inside of me that I'd never asked myself before. And they went something like this. So, Dion, why are you hiding? Why are you not letting people see the real you? Why do you feel the need to cover yourself up? When are you going to show up for real? When are you going to let people see the real you, Dion? These questions, in all the 40 years I'd been wearing my mask, these questions had never come up. I had unquestioned, I'd not questioned ever why I needed to wear the artificial eye and the dark glasses. I'd never questioned it. But now these questions were coming thick and fast in a painful, excruciating way. And I tried to answer them. I tried to search for the answer. Like, why would I need to hide? Why would I need to wear the mask? Why would I need to cover up? Why would I need to keep myself from people seeing the real me? Well, I thought it was obvious. That was my answer. Like, what do you mean, why? Of course I would. Like, look at me. Look at me. It wouldn't be fair to make people have to look at this. It wouldn't be fair to make people have to contend with the discomfort that must come from this face. When I discovered that that was in me, those were my thoughts about myself coming out of my mouth, and I heard it as if for the first time, and thought, that can't be right. Surely this can't be right. And for the first time, I just started to question everything about why I had been wearing this artificial eye and the dark glasses for the 40 years that I had been wearing it. Couldn't believe it. And I made up in my mind, on my knees, right there on the floor. I put my hands up in the air and said, you know what? I'm going to find a way to let people see me. I'm going to find a way to show up for real. I'm going to find a way to not have to hide. I don't want to hide anymore. When I made that promise to myself, that declaration, a bold statement, and they really seemed ludicrous at the time, because I had, like I said, for 40 years been ritualistically showing up with my mask on everywhere. But when I made that decision, I thought I was just talking about my face, letting you see what this face looks like. But the journey has been so glorious. It turned into an inquiry about what it means for Dion to show up. Not just the face, but Dion, the woman, the leader, the change maker, the powerful woman. Like, what does that look like? What does that mean? I discovered really early on, after making the decision, that I actually didn't know what that meant. What it meant to show up authentically, what it meant to show up for real. I didn't know what that meant for me. From the age of dot, people were telling me what it meant to look like physically, what beauty looked like physically, what powerful looked like physically. But I didn't know how that translated to the truth of me. And so I've been on this amazing journey since 2009, actually before that, but deliberately since 2009, looking to find myself, looking to find out who I am, what I'm here to do and be and say and create and express and experience. and to be about that. And it's been an incredible journey. Quite soon after not quite soon, a couple of years into the journey, somebody asked me a question and I started to share a little bit of this story, and it caught people's imagination. I started to get letters from women around the world saying, hey, Dion, I heard your story. You know, I'm not a Black woman. I'm not facially different like you, you know, but I know what it is to be hiding. I know what it is to be suppressing. I know what it is to not know who you really are authentically. I know what it is to be trying to be that for them, trying to be that for them, trying to be someone else for them over there, trying to be all these different people to keep everybody happy and losing myself in the process. And I've learned that you can be an entirely successful leader. You can be an entirely functional member of your society and still not really know who you are, and still not really be being the truth of you, still speaking in code, speaking in forked tongue, trying to please and fit in and blend in and act normal and be accepted. And I just think enough now. I think it's enough because of how much we are not saying and being and doing for the sake of trying to be normal. I think it's time for this to stop.
Absolutely, Dion. And I am so flabbergasted by this story, although I already knew this story, but the powerful way and the empowering way that you are telling it. I mean, to the audience, how does this make you feel? Because this is a hard story, but it is also a positive story. And for a lot of us, it is also there, this mask. Like she already said, like you already said, Dion, we have masks because we are ashamed for some parts of ourselves. Because somebody said, it could be a doctor, it could be our parents, it could be another somebody else in our life who played an important role, probably early in our life, who brought this upon us. Like this, like this, And that is awful. And it takes a long way for a lot of people. And I guess, like you say, Dion, that this is an eye-opener now for a lot of people. Like, what is this mask you are wearing?
Yeah.
Why? And most importantly, what do we need to take it off and show ourselves fully and be the people that we are meant to be with all our gifts for the universe?
Yeah, I really don't think that it's easy to spot masks that aren't physical. So I don't encourage people to try, because you could go down this sort of black hole of trying to work out, how are you masking? It's very difficult to see in the abstract. But what I find is that it reveals itself when we decide that we want to live our life more fully, when we want to apply ourselves in a different way, when we want to speak our truth in a certain situation, when we want to stop something that people want us to continue with, or when we want to start something that people don't think we should start. Like, now is when we come up with now is when we see those things that are really holding us in place. So I say to people, start where it's painful. I knew something was very painful about that boy's words. I knew something was very painful about the kids tapping me on the shoulder. And I didn't ask for those things, but I noticed my response and I got curious around it. So curiosity around your response to just life happening. In my work, it's, sometimes people will say how I feel when I'm standing up to present, or, I wanted to say something, but I didn't. Or I work in the boardroom a lot, and I hear women say, I'm sitting at that table and I'm thinking to myself, this is bullshit. We're not going the right way. This is not going to work. And I say, well, did you tell them that? And they say, well, no, they don't want to hear that from me. No one else speaks that way. That is your place to start, right there, where you deny yourself the freedom to be you, where you hold yourself back, where you suppress or depress your truth. Like you don't have to worry about where the masks are. You start with the evidence that's presenting itself to you in real life, in your real life today.
Absolutely. So, what were your approaches or strategies or whatever you want to call them? If people start from that response, if people start from that pain, what can they do? What resources can they tap upon in order to, make that first step?
I think it's really important to live listening. So I come across people who are living a life that is, but they kind of just absorb it and keep moving on, keep soldiering on. And especially as women, we're really good at this. That the pain comes, the thump comes, just like it came for me. And we just kind of think, oh, got to get the kids up, got to get to work on time, got to get that report finished, I think that we need to give ourselves space to hear, feel, perceive the knocks that are trying to get our attention for what it is that needs to be sorted out. So it's like hearing the call is number one. We must live listening for the call. There's a force of life that has our best interests at heart, that is always trying to bring us to ourselves, that is always trying to ease us into self-awareness, that's always trying to help us to take better care of ourselves. And that's our partner. Like, I don't know how you frame it. I say God, some people say the universe, some people say higher self. It's real. There is a partner that we have that wants us to be whole and growing and well, and we need to be able to pay attention to that, to the still small voice that often accompanies that power. So hearing the call is one. The next thing that I did was say yes. So like I said, lots of people don't say yes. They hear, but they think, oh my God, what will they think if I don't wear this mask? What will they think if I say, no, I'm not doing that anymore, or I'm going to do this, whether you like it or not? Like, for some people, the risk feels too great. I had been hiding all of my life from some of my closest friends. I mean, physically. There were people that I had in my life that just did not know what my face looked like and that felt like a betrayal. Like when I was making up my mind about whether I was going to let you see me, it felt like a betrayal. And I think that there is something about saying yes, and yes, I'm willing to pay the price that it costs to show up more fully, more authentically. So saying yes to the call is an option, and you can say no if you like, but it's worth it to say yes. So the saying yes. And then I got help. I hired the best coaches that I could and counselor. I got support to face the prospect of people. See, I had this thought that people were going to vomit when they saw my face. I had this inner worry that the real me would be so distasteful that people would be cruel to me or hurt, I would hurt them. Like, I just had these warped ideas that were, from childhood. In my mind, they had just convoluted into this complex ball of lies, BFDLs, big fat dirty lies, that I just needed help. to untangle them. And I know you know, Helena, that this is really powerful when you partner with somebody to understand what you're thinking, to understand what this is rooted to, connected to. When you start to unravel the coaching process, I just think we shouldn't be doing life without creating. We should prioritize spaces for strategic conversations, spaces where we get to explore what we've made things mean, how we've interpreted things, how we've internalized messages, how we've created messages and stories of our own that really serve to hold us back or dumb us down or stop us from fully expressing in some way. It's hard to see that on your own. And so
Absolutely.
with my coaches and my counselor, I was able to be honest and say what my fears were, get in touch with my vision for my life, get in touch with the blocks and the behaviors and the rules that I had that would stop that progress. Just a great space to plan and be supported to go forward. And then I just started executing the plan. I just started to show up, just started to let people see me. First of all, my plan was to start with strangers. So I remember the first day when I decided that I was going to let the gas man in without putting my artificial eye and dark glasses on. And I remember the door knocking and my knees knocking at the same time. And I remember opening the door and this chirpy old man said, "Hello, come to read the meter." And he pushed on by and went in to read the meter, and he had some small talk about the weather, and then he said, "See you later then, bye-bye." And he left. And I remember standing there thinking, wow, he didn't vomit. Wow, he smiled at me. He didn't flinch. Such a powerful lesson. Such a powerful hope stirrer, confidence builder, challenger to some of the thinking that I had held. I think that sometimes you just have to take the step in order to build the confidence. Sometimes we want confidence before we take the step, but sometimes the confidence comes after you've taken the step. Sometimes you have to do it with your knees knocking. Sometimes you have to draw for the courage. Sometimes you just have to remember the plan and remember why you're doing this, why you've decided that this is worthwhile, and do it anyway. And then the confidence will start to grow,
Yeah.
Taking the action is critical. Taking the action in the direction of your highest self, in the direction of your plan. Like this, we can't stay thinking about it. We now need to put it into practice.
Absolutely. Well, Dion, I believe we can talk for a couple of hours more, and maybe we will.
Yeah.
In another edition of the Roadshow or in another edition of whatever.
Yeah.
You have such an amazing story, and I am sure that this will resonate and create inspiration and encouragement for a lot of people. And there were so many nuggets and there's so many gold in what you have to say, and even in the things that you did not say or did not say yet. But what I take from this is that when your call is coming and you listen, you notice, you have the choice to say yes. And it takes courage to say yes, and that is okay. And maybe you are afraid to say yes, and you can say yes despite the fear. And absolutely true that it is very helpful to look for help, to look for professional help, because of course a partner, a friend, maybe a colleague can help you, but they are emotionally involved and they are not trained to give you the support to explore the paths that are unknown.
Yeah.
And it is so important to create that space, like you say, a physical space, but also a mental space, an emotional space to take that up. And to be aware of what is going on, to be aware of where you want to go and create the first actions go there, to take that path, to make that direction. So I love what you say. It is so simple, and yet it is not at all easy, because it asks for a lot of courage. And if you find the right people who can guide you there, it is amazing. And you are such a person. I am such a person, because we are coaches, understanding what it takes for a lot of people to become the epic version of who you are, and to take away all the, like an onion, take away all the layers, all the noise, all the dirt that has been put upon us by ourselves and by other people, and just shine. And you are shining. You are a strong light for a lot of people. You've become like a beacon. I don't know how you say that in English. A light tower for people, that shows the way, that shows possibilities, that shows the power of who we can be. And that is just amazing. That is just amazing. And I really appreciate that. And I share what you do, and how you do it, and what you bring to so many other people. So I don't know, maybe do you have like a last piece of wisdom for the audience? Our audience are women leaders, future leaders, women that want to make something of their life, not only for themselves, but also for the people around them, for their stakeholders, and for the universe, who want to contribute, who want to be relevant. So what is like a final piece of advice before we close this edition?
I like to say that you'd have to be living at the bottom of the ocean in a cave somewhere to not realize that something is happening on planet Earth, that we are shaking. There's a shaking going on. There's crisis, there's tension, there's intensity. I believe that we have come to a time for real change in the way that we do life and business. And so none of us are spare to that. None of us are irrelevant to that shaking, that shaping of a new future that's happening. The best thing that we can do to find our place in this new transitioning season is to do this work. Find out who you are. Find out why you're here. Decide what matters to you. Decide what it will take, who you need to become to take up your place and occupy space, take up room as you. Like, this work cannot go to waste. And it is the key to unlocking your most powerful contribution at such a time as this. Like, we're alive for a reason right now. And that reason is often hidden behind the mask that we wear. This is worthwhile work, and I invite everybody to think about where they make a start today.
Awesome. So you can hear it. You are invited. It is an open invitation, and you are very, very welcome. You are welcome to contribute, to participate. So if this talk resonated, and I'm pretty sure it did, then put something in the comments. Okay. So subscribe to this channel. Add your views or your questions in the comments. Connect with us. Connect with Dion. Connect with me. If you feel that we can help you or support you in any way, just reach out, because that's why we are here for. And we really appreciate your time and your openness and your contribution and your curiosity that you showed by being here with us, because it is together we can support each other, and we can keep shining and start shining. And Dion, I cannot thank you enough, and I only can ask you, please keep shining, keep doing what you're doing. You are amazing. And we are all amazing if we can just, find our true mission and find our true legacy. Then we will be shining, and there will be a lot of light in the universe. So thank you for being with us. Hope to see you in another opportunity. Hope to connect with you. So join us and connect with us with whatever question or feedback or vision or opinion that you have. We welcome it with open arms, with open heart. And we see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye bye.